wish upon a star. Makes no difference who you are. Anyone you'd like to hear will come to you. Perfectionist. Welcome to the Aristocats. We will explain all the characters in this film. Starting with Marie. Marie is a small white Turkish Angora kitten. She and her brothers Berlioz and Toulouse live with their mother, Duchess, in Madame Adelaide Bonfamille's home in Paris. Marie prides herself on being a lady. Although she does her best to mimic her mother's behavior, she often comes across as prissy and spoiled. But Marie is not above a good fight and has been known to enjoy a rumble with her brothers from time to time. She is also likely to tattle on them if she does not get her way. Marie is a dreamer with her head always in the clouds. She also has a beautiful singing voice and is a hopeless romantic. She is the first to welcome Thomas O'Malley to the family as the kitten's new stepfather.
Did you know that?
Marie is a middle child. She is also the only female kitten. Marie starred in her own Japanese music video called Disney Marie, Walk in Paris. And Marie is named after the French queen, Marie Antoinette. In the original concept art for the film, she was called Marie Antoinette, but this was later shortened.
Now you know.
This is Madame Adelaide Bonfamille. Madame Bonfamille is a wealthy elderly woman living in Paris. She's a retired opera singer and delights in sharing her love of music with her kittens. Madame is kind, friendly, and caring. Having no family and few friends, she dotes endlessly on her cats. She's also incredibly generous. When writing out her will, she leaves the majority of her fortune to her cats. She also creates a foundation that opens her home to the alley cats of Paris. This is Duchess. Duchess, a white Persian cat, is elegant and ladylike. She takes being the pet of an aristocrat seriously and is incredibly devoted to Madame. In spite of her upbringing, Duchess is not a snob. She's willing to make friends with anyone, no matter where they are from. Duchess is also a kind, caring mother. She's very protective of her kittens and tries to teach them how to be proper members of French society, even going so far as to teach them to sing and play the piano. But Duchess's compassion has its bounds. She's not a fan of her children's play fighting and has been known to scold them for it on more than one occasion. This is Edgar. Edgar is Madame Bonfamille's butler. Although on the surface he appears to be a polite, sophisticated, honest man, deep down Edgar is actually quite greedy and impatient. When he learns that Madame's fortune is to be left to the cats, he becomes determined to get rid of them. In spite of his behavior, Edgar is not sadistic. His methods for getting rid of Madame's cats may be questionable, but he is careful not to harm them. Ultimately, it is Edgar who disappears when he is knocked into a box being shipped to Timbuktu. This is Berlioz. Berlioz is a small gray kitten with a lighter gray stomach, blue eyes, and a red ribbon tied around his neck. This feisty little cat may seem quiet, but he's actually quite mischievous. Berlioz is hard to impress. He's usually the first to make a snide remark if he sees something he doesn't like, and he is quickly annoyed. In spite of this, Berlioz is a sweet-natured kitten. He loves to take rides on the head of Madame's horse, Frou-Frou, and is an excellent piano player. Here is Toulouse. Toulouse longs to meet tough alley cats and tries to pretend to be tough himself. In fact, he can often be seen puffing up his fur to make himself seem bigger. Toulouse has long orange fur and wears a blue ribbon around his neck. In spite of his desire to seem tough, he's actually fairly laid back and easygoing. Toulouse dreams of being a painter and practices his painting every day.
Did you know that?
Toulouse is the oldest of Duchess' kittens. And you know he's named after the artist Toulouse-Lautrec.
Now you know.
Now we have Thomas O'Malley. The smooth-talking Thomas O'Malley lives on his own terms. He relishes the freedom of living in the open, with no responsibilities. In fact, the only cats he feels any responsibility toward are his fellow musician friends. But everything changes for O'Malley when he meets Duchess and falls instantly in love with her. Having spent his life on the streets, O'Malley is witty. He puts his wits to good use in saving Duchess and her kittens, and earns himself the home he never knew he wanted with Madame.
Did you know that?
In the Italian version of the Aristocats, O'Malley's name is Romeo. And O'Malley is referenced in The Fox and the Hound, too, when Zelda the cat mentions a Romeo named Thomas O. she once dated.
Now you know.
Here is Scat Cat. Scat Cat is a musician friend of O'Malley's. Scat Cat is in a band with a group of alley cats. He loves jazz music and is a skilled trumpet player and singer. Scat Cat takes an immediate liking to Duchess and her kittens and is instrumental in rescuing them from Edgar. He ultimately gets adopted by Madame and ends up as sort of an uncle to the three kittens. These are the Alley Cats. The Alley Cats are a jazz band that live in a penthouse in Paris with O'Malley. Shungon plays the piano as well as a set of drums made out of pots. Peppo plays the concertina, Billy Bass plays the, bass, and Hit Cat plays the acoustic guitar. Their band is rounded out by Scat Cat, who plays the trumpet and sings. The Alley Cats ultimately end up being adopted by Madame Bonfamille when she opens up her home to all the Alley Cats of Paris. Meet Roquefort. Roquefort the mouse is a companion of Duchess and her kittens. He lives in a mouse hole in Madame's mansion and often visits with her cats. Although Roquefort is on good terms with Duchess's family, he's quite afraid of other cats, but the little mouse is a brave and devoted friend. When he learns that Edgar plans to ship Duchess and the kittens to Timbuktu, he puts his fear aside to ask Scat Cat and the Alley Cats for help. This is Frou-Frou. Frou-Frou is Madame's horse and a dear friend to Duchess and her kittens. She's also Edgar's unwilling confidante, as he confesses to her what he has done to the cats. Frou-Frou is smart and brave. Working with Roquefort, she comes up with a plan to rescue the cats, and in the end, Frou-Frou is Edgar's undoing. She uses her rear hooves to kick him into a trunk bound for Timbuktu. These are the Gabble Sisters. Abigail and Amelia Gabble are a pair of British geese encountered by O'Malley and the kittens on their journey back to Paris. The two are twins, distinguishable only by the color of their bonnets. Abigail wears a blue bonnet, and Amelia wears the pink one. The two are a bit empty-headed and tend to jump to conclusions, but they mean well. They have an uncle named Waldo who resides in Paris. And here are Napoleon and Lafayette. This dog duo lives on an abandoned windmill site in the French countryside. Their biggest joy in life is chasing humans who come near to their home. Napoleon is clearly the smarter of the two dogs and often gets annoyed at his friend's stupidity. Although he considers himself to be his superior to Lafayette, he often takes the smaller dog's advice anyway. As a bloodhound, Napoleon has excellent hearing. He can learn a lot about something just by listening to it. Lafayette, on the other hand, is a bit dopey. He often trips over his large ears, and he has to lift them with his paw to hear properly. He also speaks before he thinks, and he seems amused by the fact that the pair are repeatedly outsmarted by Edgar. And that's all I've got for the Aristocats. Next time, we go to Atlantis to explain characters from Atlantis, the Lost Empire.